Thanks for joining us today. You're listening to the International Moving Podcast, your guide to moving to another country, brought to you by SDC International Shipping, LA's finest. An international move is exciting. It's a time to start over, establish a new business, maybe reestablish family ties, or retire where your budget will do more for you. Or maybe just the weather is more to your liking. We hope you enjoyed today's episode, and if you have any questions about your international move, please give us a call at 888-779-3962. That's 888-779-3962.
Hi, Rob here with SDC International Shipping. I want to talk to you a little bit today about your international shipment or relocation from the USA to Portugal. Portugal is one of our top destinations. It's really growing every single year. It grows by quite a bit. It's top, 6, 7 for us. And it like I said, it's really becoming more and more popular. It's one of the easier countries to relocate to. And I think the last time I checked, there are over 60,000 US American expats living in Portugal presently. So neat place. I don't have to tell you the reasons why. If you're here and because you're shipping and moving to Portugal, you know the ins and outs and details and why you're doing so. So what I'd like to do with this video is go along with what is on the website for the most part, and just talk a little bit about the process, what to look for, what to look out for, the process, and some of the elements that I think are important. A lot of our frequently asked questions, a lot of our frequently unasked questions, but I think that the answers to which are important for you to really have a better grasp in terms of your shipment to Portugal. So let's start with, based on our experience here at SDC International Shipping. We've been doing this a long time. Based on our experience, what are some of the aspects of an international moving company that you should be looking for, the good things that you really want to see in an international shipper? Well, first of all, let's talk about the experience and expertise. The company should be expert and have a ton of experience because there are more moving parts to the process than meet the eye, and you don't want to have problems. You want to make sure that everything goes from door to door, including the shipping and the clearing of customs and all of that, without any difficulties or challenges, because those sometimes can cost money or worse. So make sure that you're working with a company that is expert and has a lot of experience. And you can tell, I think, in you're dealing with some of your early interactions, I think, with your representative on the other side of the phone. I think that when you have questions, they can answer them pretty quickly. You'll have a good feel for if you're dealing with an expert or if you aren't. Next, let's talk about reviews. So the online reviews, Yelp, Google. You want to make sure that the company you're working with, you've checked those reviews, and that the preponderance of such reviews are 4 stars or better, preferably 4.5 stars. What about, you want to make sure also, the third thing is that the company that you're going to work with has taken the time to truly understand what your needs are, not only what you're shipping, but what the details and the needs are for the overall totality of the shipment. And we do that. One of the methods that we utilize to do that is to have a visual survey. That visual survey could be virtual by way of FaceTime or a Zoom, or it could be in person, depending. But it's critically important in most cases, not all, there are exceptions, but in a lot of cases or most cases, it's important to really put our eyes on what's going on, to understand all of the aspects and to get to know each other a little bit as well. That way, when we come with a proposal, it's based upon something that makes a lot of sense for your shipment to Portugal. Next, I think it's important, very important for the company that you're going to work with to have an internal support and logistics team. The reason for that is any company can just go and throw a price out and book a job, but it's important that the company also has experts internally in the support and logistics arena who are going to step in and engage as well after the booking process is completed and walk you through the whole thing from start to finish. I mean, all the way through, gathering all the information, the documents, anything that's necessary so that we can clear customs easily, answer any of your questions, and also keep you apprised of the details and where we are in terms of the process. That's critically important. So make sure you look for a company with an internal support and logistics team that's going to stay with you after the booking process. The other side of that coin, let's talk about some of the things that, based on, again, our experience, that you want to watch out for. These are the red flags, perhaps. First of all, are you really working with a legitimate, true international moving company, or are you working with a broker? What do I mean by that? Well, basically, SDC International Shipping, we are a true, bona fide, legitimate international moving company. When you're talking to us, we're going to handle everything from start to finish. This is all we do, and it's really us, real people here. As opposed to something that we may call a broker. They may have a website, they probably have a salesperson, and they certainly can book your job, take your money, but they may be working with and hiring out a third party or multiple third parties or third parties that are hiring fourth parties in order to take care of the different elements of the actual shipment. Well, obviously, for obvious reasons, that's not desirable. Working with a company like that, for not the least of which is the communication. You're not going to have good communication if you're not really dealing with a genuine company that's handling everything. And also quality suffers because, that company may be using a company today to do this particular part of the shipment, but it's not the same company they used last week or that they'll use next month. You don't really know. So you try to only work with a company that is legitimate and really truly in the business of international shipping. That's critically important. Another one that we see all the time, I think it's important to understand as a red flag, lowball pricing. You see it a lot. We also call it the bait and switch pricing. Companies that will come in, they may or may not have spent much time to really understand your needs and your volume and all of that. But they come with a low price, which sounds nice because it's a low price. But very often those lowball pricers have not included everything that you're really looking for in terms of your shipment. And then you're going to be faced with some surprise charges or worse later on. It's sort of like, if you've ever seen a commercial, it's someone's advertising a particular product. Is this starting at or as low as? What does that mean? This car is starting at X dollars. Well, does that include an engine? Well, no. Well, so ultimately it's going to be a lot more costly for what you're actually looking for. So the starting at price is something to watch out for. Another one that's a red flag, and this is more of a flashing neon red flag, is upfront cash deposits. In our opinion, companies should not be asking for, or it should be seen as a bright red flag if a company's asking for upfront cash deposits. And I'll leave that there. Another one, of course, the other side of, we talked about online reviews earlier, looking for good reviews. If you're seeing consistent negative reviews on like Yelp and Google, sites like that, Trustpilot, things like that, that is certainly a red flag. I don't have to say much more about that. And then the last one that I want to talk about is the lack of a comprehensive professional quote. Sure, when I or anyone at the SDC team, when we engage with the client, initially we're going to talk in generalities, estimates, ballparks, that kind of thing. Okay, that's fine. But when we come, and any legitimate company comes with a quote, a true, proper quote, it should be just that, a professional and comprehensive quote, spelling out not just the price, but for this price, what is included, and just as importantly, what is not included. That way you can kind of see what's this starting at or as low as price may not include a number of things that are very necessary in terms of what you're trying to accomplish. So lack of a comprehensive and professional quotation in writing is definitely a red flag in our opinion. Next, let's talk about the shipping process. This is something that's really important. I think it's really important for you to understand the shipping process to Portugal from start to finish. First, we're going to have that initial interaction, probably over the telephone, talk a little bit about what your needs are, what you're trying to do, when you're trying to do it, all of that, ask questions, we answer the questions, etc. That's step one. Step two, we move on to, if everything looks good, we're going to move on to trying to do that visual survey. Whether it's in person or virtual, we're going to try to really meet each other, put our eyes on what you're trying to do, really visually understand your needs, all of that. From there, we're going to provide a professional. Number three, provide that professional quotation and proposal based on everything that we've seen and understood, from our experience together. Once you have that, if everything looks good, then you would book. The booking process would, yes, we're going to book. We're going to pick a time, a date for packing and wrapping and protecting and pick up, all of that. It could be, a 3-day process. It could be a few hour process, depending on the size of the move. From there, number four, ultimately, everything is going to have to go from your origination point, your home, presumably, in the USA. It's going to have to make its way to the port and get onto the ship, whether that's LCL in a shared container or it's a full container. It's going to have to get on the boat. and then it's going to ship across the ocean to Portugal. So there's a shipping process. The next step is to clear customs in Portugal. And after that, once the customs has been cleared, it's going to be delivered to your destination in Portugal, where we put everything exactly where you like it. The boxes go in whichever room you like, and the furniture is put, if it's been disassembled, in that case, it's going to be reassembled and put exactly where you like it. Any debris that might be around is going to be cleaned up, and then we're gone. And that's the whole process. So I think that's helpful just to understand the steps involved of shipping your items internationally, in this case, to Portugal. The necessary documents. I'm not going to get into the weeds on that too much. Just understand that for this particular shipment of your household goods, used household goods and personal effects, we're going to engage with you and make sure that we've got all the necessary documents so that's taken care of and it's trouble-free and smooth and we clear customs and all of that. Next one, this is important, and I'm not going to get too deep into the weeds on this, but what items can you not bring to Portugal as part of your household goods shipment? Now, keep in mind there are a couple different portions of that. There are a couple different categories of what you shouldn't bring. You have restricted items and you have prohibited items. Restricted means perhaps they can be shipped into the country, but they're restricted. So there's going to be some extra documentation and things that go along with that. So could be pre-approved authorization to ship the item in. It may come with a duty or a tax, things of that nature. Items that fall into that category typically are, guns, things like that. Maybe they can come into the country, but you're going to have pre-registration and approval and all of that, and pay some taxes and inspections and all of that. And then you have items that are just straight up banned. And since you're on the website, you can just look. We're going to have a list there. And when you engage with us and one of our international shipping specialists for Portugal, they can go over the details in terms of the actual specificity in terms of what can't be shipped. But the general things, of course, are explosives, chemicals, flammable chemicals, drugs, food, liquids, things of that nature, counterfeit, endangered species, ivory. These are things that almost always are not going to be allowed, and you should not try to include them in your shipment for your international shipment with your household goods. But again, we have the list. It's here, and we certainly can provide more specificity on what cannot be shipped and what is just restricted for your shipment. Next, let's talk about packing and protecting. So when we show up at your origination point in the USA to pick your items up, we're going to wrap and protect the furniture, and we're going to pack. Wrapping and protecting, what does that mean? That means anything that is not going into a moving box. So a desk, an office chair, it could be, something at your home, your bed, your coffee table, appliances, things of that nature. They're not going into a box, but they're going to be wrapped and protected as appropriate. We're going to take care of a metal filing cabinet differently than we're going to take care of a antique glass china cabinet. But just rest assured, the methodology is going to be different for each one, but they're going to be wrapped and protected appropriately. So it starts in point A, ends up in your destination in the exact same condition. So that is for furniture, things that are not going into a box. Now let's talk about boxes, packing of the actual moving boxes. A few different ways of handling that. First of all, we, the agent, we can professionally pack all of your boxes for you. We can label all the boxes and create the inventory list. That's part of the process. That's part of the service. Or, at your choice, you, the client, you can pack your boxes. You'd supply the boxes and the packing material and all of that, but it's perfectly acceptable for you to pack your boxes. Sometimes, very often actually, a client will say, well, I'm going to pack all of my boxes with the exception of however many, 5 or 3 or 10, whatever. Because maybe those items are delicate, they're fragile items, or they're high value, or the client would like to make sure that they have the option of insuring those items in those boxes with full insurance coverage, which the agent, this is an insurance regulation, an agent has to pack a box if it's going to be receiving the full insurance coverage. So those are the 3 different methods to pack the boxes. We pack it, the client packs it, or it could be a mixture of both. Let's talk a little bit more in staying with packing and protecting some of the specialty items that you may have for your shipment. This could be musical instruments, whether it's a grand piano, a baby grand, an upright, could be fine art, and it could be sculptures, it could be items from your game room, so billiard tables, or we do a lot of pinball machines, which require a lot of expertise and protection because a lot of glass, a lot of delicate, intricate parts inside. But we are expert in handling all of those things. We do it all of the time, and we can certainly help you if you have those items and for your international shipment to Portugal. Let's talk a little bit about, even if you go a step further, when we're talking about boxes, we have white glove service. Again, this is an option. If you like white glove service, we can come into your home and pack your clothes. We can really pack all your clothes at the other side. We can unpack everything, put things in your closet, put your dishes in the cupboard, whatever you like. That's called white glove service, and if that's something that you're interested in, please make sure to discuss that with your SDC relocation specialist. Next, let's talk about methods of shipping. Obviously, it's going to be ocean shipping or air, or a combination of the two sometimes. Ocean shipping is very economical, but it takes some time. It's a longer process from door to door. To Portugal, right now, we're looking at 8 to 10 weeks, typically, depending on where we're coming from. Things have really picked up quite a bit now that we're post-COVID era. And then, of course, we can ship by way of air. Air is fast, but much more expensive. Sometimes we'll handle client's shipment utilizing both methods. They'll have the bulk of their shipment go by way of ocean, with some of the items that are more time sensitive going by way of air. Whatever you need, we're here and we can handle just anything. Let's talk about shipping vehicles. Portugal, shipping of a vehicle. Again, I'm not going to get into too deep into the granularity of this, but we can ship your vehicle. It's not much of a problem. Of course, you want to ship it with your household goods shipment in a legal sense, so that if you met all the requirements, it would be a duty-free situation, a one-time duty-free deal. But there are some requirements, but they're pretty standard. And we do quite a bit of vehicle shipping along with the household goods. A couple ways we can handle your vehicle. One is called roll-on, roll-off, or ro-ro. And that's where your vehicle is taken and physically put inside of a specialized shipping vessel, ocean shipping vessel, where it's protected and it's all of that. And it's shipped across the ocean, clears customs. So we can do it that way. The other option is to ship it in a container. It can go by itself in its own exclusive container. Or sometimes if there's a little extra room, we can have a container with some household goods and personal effects along with your vehicle. So both methods are perfectly acceptable, and it just kind of depends on what your circumstance is. Same goes for motorcycles. We ship a lot of motorcycles. Typically, those are going to go into your container along with your household goods and personal effects. Let's talk about your pets. We can even help ship your pets, relocate your pet to Portugal. Something that we specialize in, and it's not a problem at all. Again, reach out and discuss this with your SDC International Shipping relocation specialist for more information on how to do that. But we absolutely can help you with your furry friends and getting them to Portugal as well. Let's talk maritime or marine insurance. We discussed a little bit about that earlier, but for insuring your goods, there are a couple different ways to insure your goods from door to door. The first is what we call total loss insurance. Total loss insurance means just that. Everything is lost or it isn't. It's not a pick and choose sort of situation. If you select total loss insurance, it means everything was lost or not. An example would be the ship sank or it didn't. What you can't do is say with the total loss policy is make a claim on one item or 3 items or something like that. You can't do that because it's everything or nothing. The premium cost for a total loss policy is 2.5% of your declared value of all of the items in the shipment. So you declare what the value is. The premium cost is 2.5% of that. The other type of insurance is all risk or full coverage. And what that means is one item can be damaged or missing, or 2. Hopefully that doesn't happen, or everything. But you're completely covered for the items which you decide to insure under the all risk or in full coverage policy. So you can select, and by the way, you can select just one item and say, I want to only insure that item. Or I only want to insure these three things, 2 boxes and my piano, whatever. Or you can select everything. Now, for the total, the full coverage insurance option, the premium cost is 3% of your declared value of, each item. And that's the premium cost. But that covers, again, one, individually. It's not an all or nothing policy. It's individual. So hopefully that has helped you. And if we can be of more assistance in terms of your shipment to Portugal, please do reach out, and be our pleasure to engage and help you with that.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Thanks for listening. Whether you're relocating within the country or moving to the other side of the world, we're here to help from start to finish. Connect with us today at 888-779-3962. That's 888-779-3962.